All right, thank you so much for staying with us here on K24. My name once again is Brian Amwai. Time to get into our conversation, and we are looking at a conversation this week that is about the legalities of marriage, divorce, child welfare, and matrimonial property. That is what we want to understand. At what point do we say we are actually married? When it comes to a point of separation, who gets what and who gets what? And children welfare, especially during divorce cases, what exactly is considered before a child is given to one parent when it comes to matters custody? And to help us understand and make sense of this particular conversation this week is Anifa Mango, who is the managing partner, Anifa and Company Advocates. Good morning. Okay, good evening. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Brian.
Thank you so much for making time and being part of this conversation with us.
Thank you for having me on the show.
All right. I want us to start from now building the context first. Marriage. Let's start from there. Who is a married person?
A married person under the Marriage Act is somebody who has a marriage certificate. So if you don't have a marriage certificate, you are something else beside being a married person. Yes.
So the idea that we can actually come together and stay together and call ourselves a married couple, that doesn't count?
It does count in certain scenarios. But if you are talking about the Marriage Act and we are trying to define a spouse, you must have a marriage certificate.
You must have a marriage
yes,
certificate.
in that context.
At what point where do we get this marriage certificate? Some people say, okay, if you're not married in church, then we don't count that. If you are, so some people say, okay, we just need to go to the AG and have it signed and all that, and we can call ourselves married. So which is which?
Yes, you must go to the government institutions. We have the AG, where you make your application through a citizen, you put your necessary documents, you go for an interview, and then there's a day for the ceremony. You are married, and you get your certificate. Okay. Yes.
Okay. And it's very good to be very clear when it comes to how the process of actually getting married is, because most of the time, sometimes, you know, we have come with stays kind of marriages that we've witnessed quite a number of time happening. And, you know, most of the time, people say, okay, you know, it's a come with stay, but actually I'm considering myself you know, I'm married to this particular individual. However, when it comes to issues to do with separation or something happens with that particular union, you know, it becomes a little bit tricky because there's no clear definition. However, you say when it comes to marriage, the moment you have a marriage certificate, then you can actually identify yourself as a married person. However, our conversation today is focusing on that and also looking at the issues to do with child welfare, matrimonial property, and of course, you know, issues to do with the divorce. And, you know, in these modern times, how exactly do we get to navigate that? We've done and already defined what marriage would be. Now, in marriages, there are different issues. Sometimes it lasts. Sometimes it doesn't. So we started well. We became a you know, a couple. We tried to navigate life itself, and it got to a point where, okay, so it's becoming toxic, and everybody now wants to take their own separate, you know, a different direction and all that. How do we arrive at that sometimes? So what could actually lead to a separation?
So one thing for sure, marriage is beautiful. But life is unpredictable. People are unpredictable. So you may start off well, but along the line, you don't get along anymore. So whatever the reasons, it just depends on the two people. We cannot pinpoint and say this happened. I cannot come here and say this happened and this marriage ended. No, people come to me with their own reasons as to why their marriage ended. Either it's misalignment, or they were not compatible, or finances, or infidelity, among other reasons. So it is not a one-way street. There are so many reasons as to why people separate. Yes.
In this separation, what are the different types of separation that we witness? I've had there's a judicial separation to some extent. Sometimes people say, okay, divorce. And I've seen a number of individuals say, okay, we try to make it work, but you know, we go to a point where it no longer works. You know, in terms of, okay, this temporary separation first, figure out whether you can actually do it or not. Then now we proceed to full divorce.
Yes. So again, it will depend if you have a marriage certificate or not. Let's start from there. If you have a marriage certificate, you are obviously going straight away to either deciding whether you are judicially separating or divorcing. If you don't have a marriage certificate, you'll first have to go to court and prove that there was a marriage first. After proving that the marriage is there, you proceed to dissolve it or get the judicial separation. Okay? So we have two processes, or rather three. We have judicial separation, we have divorce, and we have annulment. Judicial separation is very, very important for people who are not sure if they want to separate.
Oh, there's some individuals
Yes,
that...
they don't want to, because divorce is final,
Yeah.
you know. But for judicial separation, it gives you time to go and think about the decision. But there are issues in between that you don't want to leave them hanging. So you decide, we are going to get an order saying that we are judicially separated. So that in case we get back together, there was order here. Number one, it could be during the time of separation, you are acquiring assets. Or rather, if you don't go to court and get the order stating that you are officially separated, but in reality you are separated, on the ground you are separated, but under the law you are still married because you don't have a divorce certificate, you get that scenario. So you are living separately, the law does not know that, you are acquiring assets. 10 years separate, but you've never divorced. And then one morning, somebody decide, I'm going back. Okay? I'm coming back. 10 years you've invested. I am coming back to my house as the wife or the husband. And they can go on and claim, yeah, we are still together. So in case now you want to divorce, that person may claim whatever you acquired during this period of separation without us knowing the law is ours. So if really, really you've seen, we need to judicially separate so that in case you come back, you should not lay any claim to whatever I acquired for the past 10 years when you're away. Okay?
So that is judicial
yes,
separation.
It helps the physical separation. As you navigate other things, sometimes people are so religious, they don't believe in divorce, but you know, it's so hard to stay
Till death do us
together.
part.
Yeah, so they decide, for religious reasons or moral reasons, cultural reasons, let's just judicially separate before we finally divorce. Yes.
How long would a judicial separation take?
At most 3 months.
Really?
Yes, because you just file the application, you give your reasons, and the court grants you the order. Yes.
So if you are judicially separating, can we stay judicially separated for a longer time?
Yes. Because you have to come back to court.
Does it ever get to a point where, but now we say, okay, now let's go full-blown divorce, maybe
now
this particular period?
That is upon the two of you, or rather one party feels like, I can no longer stay in this situation, I'm going to file for divorce. But you can stay separated as long as you want.
Okay.
And then once you feel like it's okay for us to come back together, you can now apply to court for revocation of that order.
Okay.
Yes.
When we are judicially separated, am I allowed to live my life?
You are.
Okay.
On the ground you are.
Okay.
On the ground you are, but legally you are still married. So you cannot practice bigamy. You cannot go and marry another person. But you can have children. You can have fun. You can do whatever you want to do. I mean, legally, even the law, we don't know what you're doing unless it comes to us.
Okay.
Yes.
Interesting. And now let's look at, during this judicial separation, is there a claim to property or whatever, the way we normally see in divorces, that somebody will say, okay, let's start 50-50 when it comes to whatever we acquire together?
So yes, you can lodge a claim on property, but the only difference is you cannot split unless the two of you agree. We only split property when you are officially divorced.
Or judicial separation is not about splitting.
It's not divorce. So it's when you are officially divorced, the court can now say, you take this, he takes this. But during judicial separation, you can just decide and say, now that we are separating, you take this, I take this. It's upon the two of you to decide. Yeah, but you cannot legally separate those properties during that time. You have to divorce.
All right. So there's judicial separation, and there will come a time when we say, okay, now it is full divorce.
Yes.
When now we are at that particular moment, we say, okay, we're separated, I've gone somewhere, I've lived life. I've seen, by the way, there is, the other side is a little bit greener than this other side. And I'd like to proceed and, you know, live my life on the other side.
Yes.
And I have created my own wealth to some extent.
Yeah.
There are properties that we bought together when we were together, then we judicially separated. Now we want a divorce. What goes into this particular conversation around now full divorce?
So you're already judicially separated. First thing first, you have to revoke the order for judicial separation. Those are two different processes. You cannot come to court and say, we were here 2 months ago to judicially separate. Now we want to pick from where we left, Your Honor. Divorce us. No, you will have to revoke that order. Okay. And then now petition the court, file a petition for divorce. Yes.
How long does it take for divorce?
For divorce, it takes 4 to 6 months. Yes.
To file the application or just to be
to file the application, to argue it in court. We have defended divorce and undefended. Defended is where the other partner decides to come to court and, you know, give their side of the story. So that will take a bit of time, 6 months at most. But undefended is when the two of you decide, you file, go deal with it, whatever you want to go and lie, go lie. I will not respond.
What happens in a case where we want to separate, but one person does not want to separate? We want to divorce, but one person is not willing to sign the divorce papers.
I want first to correct you. We don't sign divorce papers in Kenya. It's a court process. It's a court case where parties come and argue it. It's not like where you
it's not what
where
you
can come and agree. No. It's a court case. If one person does not want to file for divorce, it doesn't matter. In Kenya, we have what we call irretrievable breakdown of marriage. The marriage has broken down. If you're fallen out of love, you can come to court and claim cruelty. Because when you fall out of love, you lack affection, right? You can't be intimate. And if you can't be intimate, the two of you are miserable, right? You can't enjoy conjugal rights, okay? No, which means it's going to amount to emotional abuse. Which can term as what? Cruelty. And in that case, it's a valid ground for divorce.
That could be an argument in court?
Yes. Yes. That I've fallen out of love with this person. We are no longer intimate. We don't share any moments. We don't live under the same roof. And to that extent, this marriage has broken down. There is no saving. The court will grant you the divorce. The court is not here to force people to stay together.
So it's not that we have to agree that we actually divorce.
We don't have divorce by mutual consent. We do not have that in Kenya.
Oh my goodness.
You can fall out of love and you decide, I no longer want to be here. You can even just wake up and say you're not happy. You may not even need to fall out of love. I'm just not happy being here anymore.
And I want to file for divorce.
And you want to file for divorce.
Interesting. Now, before we get to that, and I like, and this is all an idea for me, and I don't want to be misquoted. However, the idea that people can actually fall out of love.
Yes.
And they end up, you know, because I've always thought that it's a tedious process when it comes to you fell out of love, divorce and all that. Can people be married contractually, per year, as you renew? As you renew this particular contract, because marriage is a contract. So you renew this particular contract. If this year, by the way, you're still in love, you're like, okay, let's renew it again.
If you want to create those reforms, well and good. But what we have in Kenya, it doesn't allow for that.
Okay.
Yes.
So
you can get married, you divorce, and you feel like along the way we want to come back together, you can get married again.
Okay.
So for the two of you, it will look like that, that contract.
All right. Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
But there's no contract, like it expires and then you renew.
Yeah.
No.
So there's nothing that can be drafted even if we come to the...
No.
Oh, interesting.
Even if you want to play, because with contracts, you can draft anything you want with a contract, okay? But you cannot draft a contract that is going against the law.
Also, if we drafted that contract, it will not stand.
It will not stand because it's going against the law. There's no law saying that there's a marriage that can, the contract can expire and then you renew. So even if you make it, it's illegal.
Let's go back to this divorce part. When I asked, so how do we make sure that we actually get to divide the property and all that? How does that conversation come about? What actually is part of that conversation when it comes to matters property? Can somebody claim what I own and what they found me with as part of, you know, what should actually be included in the divorce conversation? So
when people divorce, there are people who divorce in a very civilized manner. They can decide, you know what, we are done, but we do agree that there's properties here that we acquire together, and they enter into a settlement agreement. where you take this, I take this, and then we go to court, register it as an order of the court, and we are done. There's that part. And then there's a part where now we can't agree. You have to go to court. You have to prove matrimonial property, that you are married first, and then you go divorced, and this is what we acquired during the marriage. This is how I contributed, and this is what I think should be my share. You have to provide evidence. It is upon the court decide what is right. You may want 50, but the court looks at you and be like, no, we're giving you 30%, 20%. So it's going to be how you're going to argue your case. Okay? So we are looking at property that have been acquired during the marriage, that is the matrimonial home, and anything attached to that matrimonial home. The household goods. We are looking at the chairs, the utensils.
All those things?
Yes. All of that.
Yeah. So everything that in my matrimonial home becomes a part of the conversation.
Yes, if there were rentals beside the home, that also is part of the what? Of the matrimonial property.
Okay.
Yes, and anything that you've acquired during that marriage. Excluding inherited property, trust property, but the rest goes in there. Okay. Yes. Even if you acquire property after the marriage has ended, using money that was obtained during the marriage, perhaps you are running a business, and then the profits came when you've already separated.
You don't get that.
No, you get it. And then one person decides, using these profits, I go buy a property and put it under my own name. The other person can say, no, you used our money. Okay. That property is ours. Okay?
And it can be part of the conversation.
Yes. Yes. So they look at the monetary and the non-monetary. We're looking at child care, domestic work, farm work, managing of family business, companionship. All that is part of contribution.
Okay. I want to ask you a tricky question because I experienced this online. I saw somebody post it and say, okay, right now, there's a woman that has land. She bought land before she actually got into a relationship with anyone. Then she gets a partner. They get married. Now the partner constructs a house on that particular piece of land. Or it can be a man has a piece of land, a woman helps in the construction of the house. Then it has gotten to a point where they're like, okay, it is no longer working. We need to go our separate ways. Who lays claim to what? Because now one was found with land, another one came and helped construct the property. Who lays claim to what exactly?
So number one, all of you have a claim to that property, you and the man, because all of you contributed. I brought land, you built the house, okay? So when you go to court, everyone is going to argue on that basis. So what will happen is we are going to value the land and value that house. Okay? The two of you can agree. There's that agreement where somebody can say, you know what, you can stay there and give me some money on whatever you agree. You stay on the property, give me some money. You are done. And then there's two of you who can't agree. So you'll have to go to court. The court will value the property and decide if it is 50, 50, 40, 60, according to that valuation. And the percentage, now everybody is going to get their share. Okay. That is how it's done. You cannot separate a house from the land unless the house is it's movable. Unless the house is movable. But if it's not movable, you cannot separate it.
So would that force for it to actually be sold so that we can actually get 50-50?
Either somebody can just decide if the value is 10 million and your share is 3M, I'm going to give you 3 million and you leave the land to me. If you don't have the money, we have to sell the property. Yes.
And if I'm the one that is actually having the land, I can actually say the cost of this land is this amount of money. So
yes. Of course, you'll provide evidence. You provide evidence, and of course, you're going to value it according to the current market value. Yes. Okay.
There's this another scenario where I am married to a woman. She has a career. She's an author. She writes a book and all that. I am there for psychological support, yada, yada. Then comes a point where it's no longer working for the both of us. And then we want to separate. And now we are bringing everything that we acquire together. Then I start laying claim and say, okay, for that book that you authored, I was there for psychological support. So the money that you got from that particular book, can we now make it part of this conversation so that we actually get 50-50? Does that count?
So number one, of course, you'll have to prove the court. How were you there? How are you there? Because it's not just a question of saying I'm laying claim to this property. How are you there? It's like saying that me being a lawyer, that's my professional, okay? And then I get married. And then a man says, since you're a lawyer and you run a law firm, that law firm is my what? Is part of matrimonial property. You understand? And you cannot come and claim my profession.
Okay.
My profession is matrimonial property simply because you married me. Unless you can prove to court that you gave me 20 million to expand my law firm. How did you contribute to that business, okay? But you cannot just wake up and say, you're a journalist, I married you, yes, I've been supporting you, now your salary is part of my, what? Matrimonial property.
That is different. All right.
So if you're an author, that is your profession. So show how you've contributed to my authorship. You can't just wake up and say, because, oh, you've bought books. Show me that the money I got out of selling these books was used for the family. If indeed you can prove that, then you can actually put an argument, it's matrimonial property.
Okay.
Okay? But if you can't prove that, you can't lodge a claim.
All right. Now, let's now go to the issue to do with now, we have a family, it's children. And we are divorcing. And most of the time we normally say, oh, children are the ones that are going to suffer in this particular conversation, or most of the time. Because so who can actually claim custody, and what are these particular grounds?
So under the new constitution, all parents are equal. There is no parent who has got a superior right over the other one. So anybody, any parent can claim custody. You just have to prove to court that you are the parent who is fit to stay with the children. Okay? So of course the court is going to look at the physical needs of the children, the emotional needs of the children, the financial needs, the lifestyle that they were accustomed to, the environment that they're going to grow into, the religious beliefs. All that is going to be factored in before the court decides you're the one who's going to stay with the children. Okay? So if you're the parent who is fit, you will take the children. I don't want to say that the mother goes with the children. I don't want to say that. We all know that most of the time, the mothers are usually being given physical custody.
And we've always had that conversation whereby some people will argue and say, the court will always favor the mother.
Yes.
The court will always favor the woman.
Yes, there is that conversation, obviously. But it's not that automatic. It mostly favors the woman because of the nurturing spirit of mothers. They're looking at the age, you know, the day-to-day running of taking care of these children. The court is like, the mother is best fit. But again, we live in an era where also mothers are working. So the question is, who is best fit? So if you as the father can prove that you are equally fit to stay with the children, the court will be like, okay, you can stay with the children. So I don't want to make it like, it's a must, the mother has to stay with the child. No, it's how you're going to argue your case. Because we have fathers who got custody of the children. And I'm talking at physical, actual custody. Leave the legal custody. Legal custody, we share. But the actual custody, the one who stays with the children physically.
Or legal custody will say...
Yes, most of the time it's shared. Unless, of course, there are reasons as to why the court does not want to give the other parent legal custody. Legal custody is shared. All of you get to make decisions jointly and everything jointly. Okay. But now the physical, who stays with the children, that is now where...
Interesting. Then there's this conversation in regards to now you have the custody.
Yes.
You have the physical custody. You get to make most of the decisions in terms of what they eat, and things like that. And there's also the conversation around the chipping in. How much do you child maintenance? What determines that?
Okay. Again, another rumor that everybody is running with. Child support is not 50-50. 50-50 is relative. It could be 30-70, 60-40. It could be even 10-90. So you're looking at the income of both parents. That one is very obvious. So parents. If you're earning more, you are going to spend more. If you're earning more as a parent, you are going to spend...
It doesn't matter the gender.
It doesn't matter the gender. Yes, I have done cases where the women are the ones who are paying child support. Yes.
Here in Kenya?
Yes, here in Kenya. I mean, we are living in an era where all parents are catering to the financial needs of the children. Because when they say 50-50, it means all of you are going to cater. 30-40, everybody's bringing something. So it's not cut that if we separate 50-50, because there's a rumor out here, people think when you separate, you take the food, shelter, I take the school fees. No, it doesn't work like that. Because remember, the court is looking at maintaining the lifestyle of this child. Yes, we know you have separated, but we're not looking to change the lives of these children so much because you're separated. Okay. If the children are going to a good school, we're not going to take them to a small school simply because one parent decides, no, we have to go 50-50. No, the court will be like, if you can afford Riara, you're still going to pay Riara. Yeah.
And that is because, you see, I've experienced and come across conversations whereby you have a woman that is well off, she's working, and a man that is trying,
Yes.
don't want to say, he's trying. But the woman is like, okay, my daughter, my son has to go to Riara. The man is like, I cannot afford Riara, so why don't you go Kilimani Primary? Let's do Kilimani Primary, a public school, and all that. But the woman is like, no, that's not how it's supposed to be. I want her to go to Riara. So will the man be forced to afford the school fees of Riara, or will the woman be forced now to chip in and make sure that actually the child maintains the lifestyle?
So obviously, the court cannot order you to give what you don't have. So if you're a man who is trying and you prove to court, you brought your pay slip, this is how much I earn, they cannot force you to go beyond what you earn. So if the woman decides my child has to go here, and perhaps the court has said you're going to cater for school fees, you will pay what you can afford. Anything extra, she will have to cater for it. Nobody is forcing anybody to pay what they can't afford. I want Kenyans to understand that. If you can't afford it, no court is going to force you. If somebody else wants to maintain a certain lifestyle, they will do that on their own budget. Yes. So women out here who want to maintain the children in a certain way, they'll have to do it on their own and accept whatever the father is giving according to what the court ordered. Yes.
So you cannot force your partner.
You cannot.
To actually give a certain amount because that's what you believe.
You cannot. And I think that is one thing most mothers are never aware when they come to court and they seek these demands. You know, I want this, you want that. There's this assumption by some mothers out here that, oh, when we separate, it is the duty of the father to take care of the children. You know, they think now, the way that man used to take care of them under his roof, it's going to be the same after they separate.
That is different.
It's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
You are going to play your part, he's going to play his part. So before you separate, you have to factor that in.
That I could actually, if I was taking care of the household and making sure that the kids are
even if you come to court and argue that my husband was doing everything, because some come and argue like that, he was providing everything, Your Honor.
And
you
now
should
he's
continue
not.
doing so.
And
It does not work like that.
So now things are
The court will
different.
tell you things are different, you're separated, all of you have got your own lives. He may want to move on, you may want to move on. So now, everybody has to decide what they're taking up. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. So in terms of this children and the welfare, most of the time, do we have a proper structure in the country that actually gets to cater for the child welfare most of the time?
We have the director of children's service. Yes. The children's department in conjunction with the police. But it depends on the agency. If you want an issue to be dealt with urgently, of course, you are going to approach the police station, and then now in conjunction with the children's department and the children orphanages.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But we have the Children Welfare Society. But again, depending on the agency, maybe the NGO may not be easy to reach at that point. So depending on the agency. But we have got so many NGOs that cater to the needs of children.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Anifa, all this conversation we are having here is because there's a bigger conversation that is supposed to be happening in the coming days in regards to, getting the knowledge, navigating the legalities of marriage, divorce, child welfare, and matrimonial property. Talk to me about this particular event that is coming up.
Yes. So my law firm, Anif and Company Advocates, in conjunction with the law firm of Dansan, Omari and Associates Advocate, we are holding a conference on the 19th of September this year at Best Western Meridian Hotel, where we are going to discuss issues to do with marriage. Come and understand marriage under the Marriage Act and marriage under the law of succession. Like I've already told you, those are two different spouses. A spouse under the Marriage Act and a spouse under the law of succession, those are two different people. Okay? The context is different. So come and understand as an individual, where do you fit in? Okay? And then also we are going to discuss issues to do with divorce, dissolution of marriage, annulment, judicial separation, the process, the grounds, the timelines. Come and understand. Because at the end of the day, when you get this knowledge, you can do it by yourself. You don't even need to hire an advocate. When you get this knowledge, you understand the process, you understand how it goes, you look at the documents, we'll show samples. you will go and do it yourself. You will not need an advocate.
You're putting lawyers out of work. Come on.
No, we cannot be out of work. We can never be out of work.
All right. Why is it important for people to attend and to have this conversation, especially, you know, looking at maybe the trend in the country, a global stage, whatever? Why is it important for this knowledge to be actually passed down to the Kenyan people? Because
you'll be very ignorant to think that you are special, that something cannot happen to you when it is already happening. Marriages are failing.
Yeah, quite a number.
Yes, marriages are failing. So you should be very, very informed. So that in case it fails, where do you stand?
Okay.
In case you are acquiring assets with your spouse, where do you stand? Or in case you don't even have any issues, how do you protect yourself? You know, prevention is better than cure. So it's very important that if you are engaging in something that has got legal consequences, you understand exactly what you are signing up for and the consequences. You should be ready. Okay.
When you look around and some of the cases that you've dealt with, what are the gaps that you get to see that you started and thought, okay, time to have knowledge passed down to the individuals when it comes to this particular issue? Because
we have so many gaps around succession, the law of succession, simply because of the issue of dependence. Okay? Because if you're saying we have got spouses under the Marriage Act and we have got spouses under the law of succession, it then means people who are holding the marriage certificate stand at a disadvantage. Because if I'm going to have a marriage certificate, then automatically everybody else is useless, right? But if the law is saying, if you have a marriage certificate and should the law of succession bring under definition of a spouse, now you are two. Now you are two, because there's another law somewhere that is giving space for that. Okay? And we understand they're also trying to cover base. The purpose of law is to cover base. We have married people, we have come, we stay, we have all these people that we need to cover. But at whose expense? Okay? So we have got those gaps under the law of succession on the question of dependence, children out of wedlock, the question of contribution. If you contributed to acquiring a property, and let's say your husband put it under his name, and he dies, now you're going under succession. Okay? Is the court going to factor your contribution? Because now if it's under your husband's name, the court is like, it's under your husband's name, so everybody who is the dependent has to take something. But the reality is you produce 70% of to acquire that property. Is the court looking at that?
Okay.
Or just at the question of ownership?
All right.
So those are gaps that we need to address.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting. You've spoken about succession to some extent. Let's just touch on that a little bit as you wind up on this conversation. Children that have been born out of wedlock, do they have a fair opportunity than those born within?
In Kenya, we don't have illegitimate or legitimate children. If they are your children, all of them have got a right to inherit.
They also have to prove?
They don't have to prove. If you accepted them, they simply have to bring the birth certificate. Because if I'm coming to court saying I'm the child of so-and-so, unless somebody else says, no, you are not. So now I have to prove I'm not. Yeah. I am.
The reason as well I'm asking that is because we've witnessed prominent people. Sometimes they pass away and somebody comes and says, also, I am laying claim to the property because I was his child. I want to be recognized in the division of this particular, property that they left behind. I also want to be part of it. Then you have the immediate family saying, no, we will not agree. We don't want to.
Yeah. It's not up to them. It's up to the law. The law says if he's a child of the deceased, he gets to have an equal share like the other children. Okay? So if you think he's not the child, of course, they'll have to bring DNA tests and all that. But it's not up to the family. It's up to the law. All right.
As we wind up, where does the prenuptial agreements actually come in? The prenups, most of the time we hear people say, okay, it's a prenup, let's sign a prenup. Is it advisable?
Yes, if you look at yourself as somebody who has got potential to build wealth, because again,
are we looking
it's advisable. Even if you don't think you're going to make anything,
it's
advisable because there's no harm in making one. So that you say, whatever I acquire in this marriage that is coming out of my own sweat is mine. Even if you don't get to have anything by the end of that marriage, it's okay. You're already safe. If you get to have something, you are safe as well.
Okay. So how do prenups actually work? Is it when we get into a marriage, if I don't lay claim to whatever that I found you with, or what exactly?
So you can agree. It's an agreement out of court. Let's start from there. Which means the two of you can agree to it the way you want. You can say whatever we acquire together is ours. Whatever you came with is yours. Whatever I acquire inside is mine. But just like any agreement, it can be challenged. Because sometimes you prepare a prenup and other factors come into play. Perhaps there's commingling of assets during that marriage. Yes, I bought the property by myself, but then your husband came and built something on it. Even if the deed is yours, the house is his investment. So you cannot stick by the prenup and say, anything that I bought is mine. No. We can challenge that agreement and say, set aside the agreement, we are going now normally.
Okay, interesting.
But you can do a post-nap, post-nuptial agreement, where you got into the marriage without a prenup, but along the way you decide to draft one.
Oh,
yeah, you can do that as well.
After you've witnessed somebody could actually
yes, after you've acquired some property and you decide, you know what, let's secure our rights. You can do that. Yes, you can do that as well.
But I look at it and I think it's scary that most of the time we will actually be getting into marriages with the fear that we will be separating, when most of the time we
you should not be scared. If you're coming with knowledge, like myself, being a family lawyer, I'm not scared of getting married. I know exactly what I'm signing up for. And I'm not looking to extort anybody. I'm not looking to come with any ulterior motive. I believe people who come with ulterior motives are the ones who really struggle with that.
Okay.
But if all of you are coming to build a life together, I don't see a problem with you accepting to draft a prenup, with you accepting, you know, if we're acquired together, it's okay.
Right.
Like I brought the money, you brought, let's share it.
Okay. What is the date for this event?
The event is on the 19th of September, 2026. Come join me and Dasan Omari, among other brilliant legal minds. We'll share a lot of knowledge. Yeah, there will be food, there will be drinks, there will be snacks, there will be entertainment, and a lot of knowledge. Okay. Yes. I
think my director is excited at the aspect of food. So but I've warned him against marriage to some extent, based on the rate of divorces that we're actually witnessing. But now I think with the knowledge that we have, you're safe, Boaz, we can actually go ahead and get married, do a prenup and all that. When you once you separate, nobody's going to lay claim to your car and every other thing that you have. Yes. All right, thank you so much, Anifa, much appreciated.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you so much for coming. And of course, Anifa's event, navigating, the theme is navigating the legalities of marriage, divorce, child welfare and matrimonial property in modern times. Of course, will be happening on the Saturday of the 19th of September 2026. The time is from 10 a.m. all the way to 4:30 p.m. All right. So say it's limited slots. So make sure that you actually get to attend this particular event.
And if you want further details on the poster, you can check on my social media website.
Social media.
On Wanjiru the Boss Chick. The event is there. The poster is there with full details.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated.
Thank you, Brian, for having me.
All right. Awesome conversation here on K24 this week. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Like every other week, we do these conversations for you, the viewer, and of course, in your interest most of the time. My name is Brian Amwai. Let's do this again when God says we do.